Hello, everyone. Well, let's see. Well, hello, everyone. This is Carrie back with Homeschool Coffee Break and How to Homeschool My Child. And we are beginning a brand new series, Holiday Homeschool. I had it backwards. Homeschool Holiday, Holiday Homeschool. All you got the two ideas. We are going to connect them over the next 4 to 6 weeks and give you some ideas so that the holidays don't become overwhelming. We want to reduce all that overwhelm and get you back to being able to just enjoy the holidays and then also be able to homeschool as well. If you are here, whether you're on the live or the replay, please leave me a comment. You know, as I record it right now, we haven't even gone to Thanksgiving. And that's one reason I'm going to focus on that today. And then we'll move to Christmas. Tell me, what is your favorite thing about the next 6 weeks? Is it Thanksgiving? Is it the turkey? Is it Christmas? Is it Advent? Is it just building a fire and reading a book at night? I mean, what is your favorite thing to do as a family? Leave us a comment and let me know what that is. Now, we are going to get started, and we're going to talk a little bit about the first Thanksgiving and some ideas that you can use. I wanted to grab this before I get started. No. My mouse is really going badly. There we go. I would like to grab this free unit study and give you a link to it if my mouse wouldn't go so crazy. Let's try one more time. Okay, this is a free Thanksgiving homeschool unit study on Pilgrims, and I think it can be a big help to many of you. And let me see if I can get that to show up in the comments. I'll put the link right here. It is based on a book called The Story of the Pilgrims. All right, a lot of what you'll get 5 days, like you'll go to that blog post, it's going to tell you day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Meredith Curtis did a great job. She is so generous. Anyway, it's based, a lot of the readings come out of this book, Stories of the Pilgrim by Margaret Pumphrey. I'm going to be sharing some of the stories of that first Thanksgiving. That is a great place to get started. Let me just go ahead and tell you a few other places, things that you could use. There is this book, which is William Bradford's journal, and that might be for a little bit older elementary, junior high, high school kids, because that's a primary resource right there. Now, these are my favorite. I share them every year, if I could just find one of them. It is a series. This is Samuel Eaton's Day, and I probably should just read it to y'all, but you are going to get actual photographs of Samuel, and he has come over to the New World, and you're going to find out what a day in his life is. There is also Sarah Morton. Samuel Eaton, Sarah Morton. I can't find that one. This is on the Mayflower, so it is going to have pictures. And you know what's so funny? Okay, so here's pictures on the Mayflower. But the thing that when I read this to my granddaughters a year or two ago, we were reading the girl one, they're like, she has to put on like 5 petticoats before she can even put her dress on. That was what they remembered the most. And then we have Tapanum's Day. So this is a life in the Indian boy back in those times. These are great resources. If you do have younger kids, you might look at this book, 3 Young Pilgrims. And then this is if you would like to get some ideas of coming up with your own lesson plan. This is the Thanksgiving Primer by Plymouth Plantation Publications. So that's a lot of resources that you could go. A lot of these are probably at your library, so you could go. That is where we were introduced to Samuel Eaton. It was when we were looking for books and they were at the library. So they're really good books. Thank you, Meredith. There is another blog post from a previous 25 Days of Thanks from Annette, and it has some first Thanksgiving activities. So you might look at that one as well. In case you have missed it, we have got the best series going on in my blog. It is 25 Days of Thanks. And so we have different bloggers contributing. You will find all sorts of information. A lot of them are giving free resources. If you have not checked that out, I will put a link here. It is basically just go to our blog, and the front page will tell you some of those things that, let me just go ahead and put that here now so that you have it. So just go to my blog and start looking. We are halfway through. And you are going to get some hands-on activities that you can use, as well as writing activities, gratitude activities, all sorts of things. But let's go back to 1620. The Pilgrims and the Separatists, they wanted religious freedom, and they were really willing to do anything to get that religious freedom. So they moved from England to the Netherlands. But then once they got there, they didn't want their kids being influenced by that society. They gave up all they had. They were well-to-do families. They gave it all up. So then they came back to England and came over on the Mayflower to the New World, because they felt like they could create a city on a hill, basically, a light for the world. And so they did this. They created the Mayflower Compact. This was all for the glory of God and the advancement of the kingdom of God as well. It was not the easiest travel. Many were sick. Many were died. If you look in this, let me see if I can find a good picture. I mean, it is crowded on that boat. And let me just show you. You could see sort of a picture a second ago. I was trying to get down below. Guess I'm not going to find it. Well, I'll keep talking. Anyway, it was not easy. And you can see, here's a picture down below. And they're all gathered, and a lot of times they had to spend their time down below. It was the safest place. Well, as I mentioned, William Bradford, who was the governor for years and years, from his journal, this is what was said. This is actually excerpt from Rush Limbaugh, but he excerpt William Bradford. And he said, "We landed in New England in November. They found, according to Bradford's detailed journal, a cold, barren, desolate wilderness. There were no friends to greet them. There were no houses to shelter them. There were no inns to let them refresh themselves." So they had it hard. You know, when we go on a trip, you can talk to your kids about this. You can relate this story to them. Usually you're going to visit someone and they're all ready for you, and they have a nice warm house. If it's like right now, it's cold outside. And so they didn't have any of that. They were going all on the faith in God that this is where they needed to be. The Indians taught the settlers how to plant corn, fish for food, skin beavers and other animals for coats. There was no prosperity. They did eventually prosper, but it was years. So I think that's something we really need to explain to our kids, because maybe when they are complaining and not wanting to show thankfulness, let's go back and look at what these people did, because they were still thankful. They focused on God's provisions no matter what, in the good times and the hard times. It was a bleak and harsh winter. 2 to 3 people died a day. It was not easy, but they kept their eyes on God, and they kept thanking God for his provision. Squanto is one of the Indians. You've probably heard of him. He actually taught the Pilgrims, how to get animals, how to feed themselves, how to plant corn and actually grow it. And yet the Pilgrims had a huge impact on Squanto. It was said, and this is from the Weirton Daily Times, that William Bradley knelt beside Squanto's bedside when he was very ill. And Squanto said, "Pray for me, Governor." And he whispered, "that I may go to the Englishman's God in heaven." And then Squanto breathed his last on November 1622. That was 2 years later. He was gone from the New World, but he had a heavenly one. I say that to say they went through this horrible, harsh winter, but God still makes beauty out of ashes. So it wasn't a good thing, but they had influence on people, and one of those people was Squanto. They were a witness of Jesus to the Native Americans as well. Well, let's go on to the next year, 1621. Actually, go on to the next 30 years. William Bradford, here's his journal again. He was governor for 30 years. He was an excellent leader. He had very few complaints. When you look at historical records, you really don't find many complaints. He was voted governor every single year. He had excellent communication skills and relationship skills, but that he could bring in the Indians and the Pilgrims and keep them focused. And you know me, I am all about leadership skills. He would be a great example for you to research and see what he did, because a leader has to have relationship skills, communication skills. Go and discover, read his biography, read his diary and journals, and see what he did. And you could learn a lot about raising your kids to be leaders and your kids being leaders. Well, in 1621, they had the first Thanksgiving, 3-day feast, and they thanked God for such a bountiful harvest, sort of like what you see back here behind me, although that's not real. But they realized their survival was only due to God. And so they feasted. I will tell you, it was probably famine or fasting that first year. Which leads me to a point, and it's something I was sort of thinking through today before I even got ready for this. I thought, fasting is a good thing. Fasting takes our eyes off of ourselves and puts them on God, and we fast and we grow close to Him, and then we have a feast. And that's sort of what happened. They were fasting, maybe out of necessity, for a year. They did not have much food. And then the next year they have this bountiful harvest and they feast. What would you think about maybe fasting for a day or two before Thanksgiving? You'd have to talk to your kids. You'd have to let them understand why this was going on. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you fast from all sweets and all screens. And that may be dreadful for some of your kids, but you don't have to necessarily just go on a water fast. I was listening to a friend of mine. They were all preschool kids, and they went on a 3-day sweet fast. They didn't have sweets. And one of them had gone to a little preschool, and someone brought treats on that Monday, and the little boy, who's 4 years old, said, "I can't have that because we are fasting." He was taking it seriously, probably more serious than we actually do. You could do that, or maybe the first week of Advent after Thanksgiving, and we'll talk more about Advent, preparing our hearts for the celebration, the feast of Christmas. That might be a time that you do something. You might, as a family, and I know with kids it's different, some of you may actually water fast for a day or so, but maybe you do fast from sweets, fast from screens, fast from media, fast from Facebook, where I am right now, fast from social media. I have done that before. I do use it for my business, but I am not scrolling and wasting time. It's basically communication with the partners that I work for. So if you do fast before you have a Thanksgiving feast, before you have the Christmas feast, be sure to read in the Bible what fasting is all about, and let your kids have an understanding of why we fast. I believe that when we fast, we can build thankful hearts. Hearts of gratitude, because we are focusing on Jesus. And if we do get hungry, it reminds us of God, that He has always taken care of us, and it's time to pray. And then we get to have the great bountiful feast of Thanksgiving, just like the Pilgrims did back in 1621. Thankfulness for all God has done. So let's talk about some practical ways that you could. What is actually fasting and feasting? I truly believe that. Another thing is the legend of the 5 kernels of corn. This began in the 3rd year, 1622, and I have written down November 29th was the day that they were thankful. It was hard to find food. No one died of starvation that year. There were other types of death, but they still gave thanks in the midst of their hardship. If your kids feel like they're in a hard place, maybe you can remind them of 1620, when 2 or 3 people were dying a day. And we can put things in perspective. So the 5 kernels of corn, you can use real corn, and everyone takes a corn piece and puts it in there, or you could use candy corn if you want to. But here's how it goes. And I just realized my printer didn't so the 3rd one is a mess up. The first kernel reminds us of the autumn beauty all around us. And then you go around the table, and everyone says one thing that they feel like is beautiful to them. The 2nd kernel reminds us of our love for one another. Again, 2nd kernel of corn, and we all tell someone that we love. The third kernel reminds us of something that I can't read, but I will copy all that down there. It's smudged, and I didn't realize till I got here. The fourth kernel reminds us of all our friends, especially our Indian brothers. So you could go around and all mention one of your friends that you are thankful for. And then the fifth kernel reminds us that we are a free people. That's really a cool thing to do. And it would be really easy to go around. It gives you enough variety that we're thanking God for different things. One mom, so there's one practical activity. Well, we got the fasting and the feasting. We have kernels of corn, 5 kernels of corn. The third one is a bonus one. Is you could take this 5 kernels of corn idea and put them on note cards. And every year, your child has one note card and they write their 5 things on it. They can even think of that ahead of time. Then you actually have a keepsake. I heard this from another mom. It was not my idea, but she dated every single one of them. So when they were done, they had their little collection of all the things that people have been thankful for. You know, some years the kids were not into it, but the mom and the dad persevered because they felt like gratitude was so important. And so, you know, you can tell probably from those years, but I bet you when they become adults and they're taking care of their own family, they understand it a lot better. This is truly a faith activity for everyone in the family to learn gratitude. You know, I'll share a few more things. My mom did things creative. One year she made a little pine cone and there were colored feathers and you had to write down one thing thankful for, and she made that little pine cone into a turkey. She had a little face on it. One year I actually had everyone write things down on a slip of paper, and we folded it up and we put them inside all our rolls that we were baking. And then when you opened it up, you had to read it and then guess who that person was that said thankfulness for that thing. I'll share some. These are all, I've been doing 25 days, 30 days, 22 days of thanks for about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. And so we have lots of ideas that you can find on there as well. And for those of you that don't know and you haven't really gotten it, I do want you to know that we have a free 30-day gratitude challenge, and you can get this printable. It looks like this. This is the 32. There are actually 2 different calendars. This is the one that will help your child think of something, a family member, food you enjoy, something in nature. And every day they just have to think of one thing, and they have 30 days of gratitude. As your kids get older, you may want to give them this one. This is just a blank one. And this allows you to actually write down. It's a great way for your kids to keep individual records. You could date these and put them in a binder, and you would have a keepsake as well. Another thing that comes in the packet is our things to be thankful for, and you could keep this as a family. You could keep it as a gratitude journal if you wanted to. We did this, my kids were, 10 to 13, and I just put a piece of notebook paper on the refrigerator and said, okay, every time you think of something to be thankful for in November, you go write it down. And so that was just a way that, and I would encourage you, if you do this, to put it on the refrigerator and let your kids just keep that. And so I also think, I have to check and see, but I'm almost positive we have how to write a thank you letter. So you've got lots of good free things in here as far as tips and helps for you to get started as well. For those of you, we do have some paid resources like Give Thanks to God. This is a copy work exercise. And then we also have the Mother's Prayer Journal for giving thanks to God. So I already have the blog link. And so you can get this 30-day gratitude challenge. It's on day 1, so just go back about 14 days. You can also get a Thanksgiving Bible study. We have many free resources, more coming out, but I'm going to read off the ones that we have so far. We have a free Thanksgiving Bible study that can be done as a family. High schoolers could do it on their own, and they may discover a lot of things about thankfulness. We have a gratitude activity pack that's more for younger kids. Gratitude copy work pages you can print and go. Gratitude 5 senses spinner game. Play a game. And I love this idea of 5 senses. You know, what are you thankful that you can see or hear or taste? A family gratitude journal that you can print out. Thanksgiving place cards and scriptures. That goes with Meredith's Thanksgiving unit study that goes with this book, Stories of the Pilgrims, and then a grateful tree activity. Those are all the things we have so far, but we've got, I don't know, 10 more days of it, 10 or 12 more days for you to be able to be encouraged. Go and read those blog posts and thank the people. I just posted our giveaway. We also have a giveaway. It's over $250 worth of resources that are great for moms and dads and homeschoolers. Please go enter, and then also go to the link that is our thank you for our sponsors. I've been putting a few thank yous up. Please say thank you to the sponsors that we have, because they have paid to be able to sponsor this. They have paid for us to be able to have this giveaway. And I think that is so important, and we need to say thank you for that as well. Now, I think I have everything in here that we've done. Oh, yes. I will put the link too if you would like to sign up and get regular notifications for all the rest of the blog posts that we will have in Thanksgiving in November. Then we move into Christmas. You can keep getting lots of fun activities, but you can go and sign up for that, and I will put the link. It's not easy for me to remember. I'll have to copy and paste it, but go sign up, and that means every day we have a new blog post. You get it in your email, and you find out what it is right beforehand. And you'll also get a listing of the previous 3 or 4 blog posts, so you aren't missing anything as well. All right, if y'all have questions, you have ideas about encouraging Thanksgiving, especially as we study history, that's what I was trying to tie in today. We take history and we turn it into our holiday of Thanksgiving and gratitude, and turn it into something our kids can use. So I was looking to see if there were any other comments here, and then I just lost it. Well, I guess that is it. Here we go. Thank y'all for spending time with me. I am Carrie Beck with Homeschool Coffee Break and How to Homeschool My Child.